lovely good morning to you, our viewers. Welcome again to another exciting edition of the Camnet TV Breakfast Show of today, Tuesday, the 28th of February, 2023. I hope you're having a lovely morning. I'm doing that myself. I am your host, Miriam Kaimba. And in studio, I'll be joined later on by my colleague, Zipramsha. So this morning, you, our viewers, we are going to, run you through various topics that we have this morning, looking at trending issues that are happening in our community, as well as looking at the factors leading to poor outcomes of the Keep Zambia Clean awareness campaign. And we'll be joined later on in studio by an environment activist who is going to help us, just discuss about why this campaign has not been fulfilled. Why are we not seeing the results that we want when you talk about the Keep Zambia Cleaning campaign? But anyway, before I go into talking, every time we come here on this show, every single morning, I always emphasize that we exercise. We do a little bit of exercise before we start our day. And the doctors and other, fitness people, we always advise that, you have to hit the gym every day in the morning, maybe at 5, 4. But anyway, in case you did not exercise at 5 or 4 in the morning, you can join me this morning on our very show as we go direct into our morning boost and do that little exercise. And we'll continue with the rest of the program.
Hello. It's your boy Harrison, aka the Fitness Papi, here at Joe's Fitness Gym here in Kablonga. So remember, guys, we also have new stock, new fitness attire for both male and female. So today I have my best friend as well as my dad. So we are going to do sit-ups. On this, there was the sit-up bench. So it's going to do the 30 laps of sit-ups. We go 3, 2, 1. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Come on. 9, 10. 10 more. 1. Come on. 2. Let's go. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go. 6, 7, 8. Come on. 8, 9, and 10. Okay, 1 minute left. Remember, when you're dealing with the sit-up bench, like this, you know that the sit-ups works on your core muscles here as well as your lower back here. This is where the sit-ups works on. So remember, you can come here and join us, look together. So it's going to go for the 20 more laps. We go 3, 2, 1. We go 1, 2, 3. Let's go. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's go. 9, 10. I think that's all. Okay, guys, you've been with me, Harrison, aka the Fitness Papi, here at Charles Fitness Gym. Remember, you can come and get your fitness attire here, very affordable, and we also offer discounts like discounts for students, couple, as well as a group of 5. Bye bye.
One thing that one should always remember is that the benefit of physical activities is that it improves your memory and helps your brain function. So it's very, very important that you exercise every single day in the morning. Try by all means to exercise so that you keep your body intact, in good shape, and in good health. And talking about health, this is where now we go direct into our healthy corner and just see what the doctors have for us this morning.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on The Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakubiana Mufaya. So this week we are talking about a rare condition, a rare disease that is not very common but also found among ourselves in our communities. We have some people that have this condition, and we are talking about rickets. Now, yesterday we talked about what ricket is, what ricket is, and today we'll talk about what causes or what are some of the causes of rickets. But before I do, let me just mention that today is Rare Disease Day, and this is how come we're talking about a rare condition, and that is rickets. So what really causes rickets? Now, yesterday we mentioned that rickets comes about as a result of lack of vitamin D or vitamin D deficiency. And so if you or your child lacks vitamin D, then they are going to develop rickets. What are some of the risk factors that cause you to lack vitamin D? It can be because you are not eating foods that are high in vitamin D. You're not getting foods or eating foods that are high in vitamin D. And what are some of these foods? These foods include fish, milk, eggs, and some cereals that are fortified with vitamin D. So these are some of the sources of vitamin D that we need to be eating in our diet in order to prevent our children from having vitamin D deficiency. How else can a child lack vitamin D? It can be because they are not being exposed to the sun. And so if you have children that are not being exposed to the sun, they may develop rickets because our body is only able to make vitamin D upon exposure to the sun. And so you don't need a lot of sun exposure. Even just up to 20 minutes a day is enough time for your child to be able to make vitamin D in the skin. So you need to expose your child to the sun for them to be able to make vitamin D or synthesize vitamin D. Then what are some of the other causes? So there are some other causes that can cause vitamin D deficiency, and these are more genetic causes. And usually they are X-linked. So usually you'd find that in families, there are some people that have this condition of rickets, and it's passed on to others as well. But that is a very rare situation. But there are some people that can have this genetic disorder, which is inherited, and they can end up having rickets because of that genetic disorder. Then there are also other causes that affect the ability of the body to absorb calcium and phosphate from the intestines. And so if your body is having a certain condition that prevents it from absorbing or absorbing the calcium and the phosphate from the intestines, then you can end up having this rickets condition. And so some conditions that affect absorption of calcium include inflammatory bowel disease, where your bowels are inflamed and they're not able to perform or function well. There is also a condition called celiac disease, which is not very common, but it affects the absorption of nutrients and food from the intestines. So these are some of the causes, or this is how rickets can come about in children. So if your child, if your child is only receiving breast milk, let's say a baby is receiving breast milk only, and the mother is not giving any other food. So we usually advise mothers to breastfeed up to 6 months exclusively. But if the mother continues to breastfeed even up to 1 year without giving any other foods, then your child will be lacking in certain nutrients, and vitamin D is one of those nutrients. And so you need to be able to introduce the child or the baby to other foods, especially after 6 months. So introduce the baby to foods like eggs, milk, fish, which are high in vitamin D, to help the baby to have vitamin D. Also, in the first few months, or the first 3 months of the baby's life, or from 3 months to 6 months, the child can also be given vitamin D supplements, just to help with the prevention of rickets. And so if the mother also has this condition where the mother doesn't have vitamin D or is vitamin D deficient, it's possible that the child who is going to be born from this mother will also develop rickets, because the mother doesn't have vitamin D. And so the child will develop rickets as the child is growing, because they were not exposed, or they did not receive enough vitamin D from the mother. Then children who are also born prematurely, or who are born before 9 months, that's like about 7 months and below, they are more at risk of having rickets as well. And so this is how rickets can come about. Today we were talking about what causes rickets, or how rickets comes about. And we say that it's because of a lack of vitamin D. And this lack of vitamin D can be due to our diet not having vitamin D. So if you are not consuming foods that are high in vitamin D, then you can develop rickets. We also say that there are some people that can inherit a condition where they are not able to absorb ricket or absorb calcium properly, and it's a genetic condition, and so they develop rickets as a result. We also mentioned that there are some conditions where the body is not absorbing calcium from the intestine, such as inflammatory bowel disease and also celiac disease. The other cause is that if the mother has vitamin D deficiency, so if the pregnant mother doesn't have enough vitamin D, it's possible that they can pass it on to the child, and the child will also develop rickets. So this is what we are learning today about some of the causes of rickets. I do hope you have learned something, and make sure that you are watching the breakfast show to learn more about these conditions. And if you are not able to find time to watch, you can also check out my YouTube channel, where I post these videos, and you'll be able to watch them on my YouTube channel. And the channel is Dr. Nakubiana Mufaya Siameka. So make sure that you watch these videos. Even on my YouTube channel, you can find them at your own time and learn more about some of these conditions. Make sure that you share with your friends as well, and let's all learn so that we know how we can prevent ourselves from having some of these conditions that we are talking about on the breakfast show. I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much, Doc. I hope you did learn 1 or 2 things there on our healthy corner. But right about now, we go direct into our money market and see how our kwacha is performing against other currencies. So we have the Great British Pound, they are buying at 23 kwacha 56 ngwe and selling at 24 kwacha 02 ngwe. We have the United States dollar, they are buying at 19 kwacha 61 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 99 ngwe. We have the euro, they are buying at 20 kwacha 73 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 14 ngwe. We have the South African rand, they are buying at 1 kwacha 07 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 09 ngwe. And I was even failing, to pronounce when we reach the United States dollar. I can just see on the selling part, it's 19 kwacha 99 ngwe. I can safely say it's 20 kwacha now on the selling part. Almost. Only one ngwe is remaining for it to be 20 kwacha. But anyway, right about now, we go direct into our zooming in some of the stories that we did yesterday. So yesterday, one of our colleagues, Bram Shara, was on ground doing a story where a witch doctor is said to have allegedly swindled a client. Anyway, let's get direct into playing that story, and we'll continue. We'll be joined by a guest in studio, and we'll be looking at factors leading to poor outcomes of the Keep Zambia Clean awareness campaign.
They say they have tried it all, from modern medicine, the church, and finally resorted to a famous witch doctor to help them solve their problem. These are 3 complainants from Lusaka's Ngombe compound who say they were swindled of their money by a famous witch doctor from the group of a witch doctor known as Dr. Chandulo, operating in various parts of Lusaka. One of the victims states that his wife developed a problem in the leg which did not get healed despite going to various hospitals, while the second complainant states that he was in search of parenthood as he cannot bear a child. The third complainant states that his story is one of searching for protection as he was experiencing problems with thieves at his shop. The 3 all have one thing in common, as they narrate that they were swindled by the said witch doctor after they contacted him following an advert on a named radio station. They explained that while the payment advertised on radio was 200 kwacha, the witch doctor, when visited, kept demanding for more money with a promise that it will return, but state that this was all a lie.
Irenganga yambo kula tuchitako mandi fumye ndalama ukwete shinga ndalama twati nshkwete pa ili yonse fumye ndalama ili yonse yambo kula chita first nombo ko bati infumye mpiyesho nshkwete so nalishire fumye yo nashire shara na yena mutu 200 kwacha nshindi pira ila 200 kwacha aisabula 200 kwacha futi na afumya no kwambo kula nchita force ko bati bika pini ambiro kula chita transaction. So after that, naisa reporter. I even reported to police. Naisa wakama officers aba ku Charleston police na aba ku Central police na kulinganga na ku Drug Enforcement Commission. Naisa landoko bat kulinganga ishire sendela abantu indalama by false pretense.
Kwata ndefu ya umuti wa ufyashi. So nomba ba doctor kusala ndati. Uline ndalama matumba fumye ndalama. So nalina 20 kwacha mtumba. Yeye nafumisha ataule faika kununka indalama iwe fumia ndalama shiri matumba yeye nafumia 20 kwacha after nafumia 20 kwacha ativika mumpoto navika muri mpoto 20 kwacha elo nomba baisala ndati mfoni move mizimu ikambati una ndrama mu mfoni fumia ndalama shiri mfu nishinga wakwata ndalama mfoni so nalikwata 2,500. So number nokusala ndati fumia shonse.
While the accused was arrested and detained at Lezole police post in Ngombe compound, their concern is that he has been released with no explanation. Camnet News also spoke to the accused witch doctor.
Can you kindly please ask the people when did they come to my office?
Okay.
If you ask them the day when they came to my office, then you should call me back, please.
But did you swindle them or not?
No, I don't swindle money. I work on people, I don't swindle money.
All right. Meanwhile, Traditional Health Practitioners Association of Zambia Secretary General Simon Inyoni has advised citizens to always demand for registration, noting that legal practitioners are registered.
And at the same time, we advise the public that they should first of all inquire even from a healer that are they registered, fully registered members of our association. Once they do that, then we can be able to trace the culprit. Because if we just make a blanket statement that these healers in Monde, we don't know whether they are our members or not.
Meanwhile, Camnet News has reached out to Zambia Police Deputy Spokesperson Danny Mwale and is awaiting response on the matter. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka. While youths in Zambia are known for illicit activities such as drug and alcohol abuse as well as crime, this group of concerned citizens say they want to change the narrative and contribute positively to the nation. This is a group of 136 citizens, with most of them being youths, who say they have responded to the call by Republican Vice President Mutalena Lumango to clear the state of youth in the Lusaka Central Business District CBD as it is an emergency. The concerned citizens say from this day until April, when the rain season is expected to end, they will clean the streets daily to prevent an outbreak of cholera. The group further conducted an inspection around some shops in the CBD, noting that only a few have waste collection bins, while it is not known where the others dispose of their waste. Martin Mulenga was leading the group.
The Minister of Health, Sylvia Masebo, just announced the outbreak of cholera in Zambia. So we don't want to be hit by cholera outbreak. I'm telling you and I'm assuring you, if cholera were to come in Lusaka, we are doomed. So what do we do? This is why we, as the concerned citizen, we have begun this campaign for Keep Lusaka Clean. What we want to see is to see a clean market, a clean Lusaka, and a clean environment at large.
So that Pange Lusaka, yes, we were clean. Keep Lusaka clean. So Chilamuntu also pale wombela. Avike kwa mano pale wombela pale va clean. Nothing that wapi that nangamukola chani, musebenzela chani awe. Vane bose tentu ikatane so that tuwe clean muno mchalo chesu cha Zambia.
So tipempa kukuli muri kumanyumba muri town pamene musebenzera kuma restaurant kumachani mudobepo mukapeza chipepa wachamanzi chachani mwadoba mwaika muri chamene muika mu chibini chamene tipempa ko chikulu mpezeke olo mwatenga masaka mulongamo doti pamene muzambo pezeka nako pafupi ndechameti pempa isati zambo pitapo tita correct pita pamene mwatikira masaka titandiza kuti Zambia inkale clean, Lusaka inkale clean, kuti cholera isati gwere, isati pae.
Others say there is need for buses to have bins so that passengers do not litter the streets when traveling.
And then we call upon the Association of Bus and Taxi Drivers so that they should make sure that in their buses they should have a bin, at least it's clean where they are. They should not litter outside the window. And for that, we are asking all of these lawmakers to say they should check on these people. Say that they should keep this clean environment. Once we find these people littering anyhow, we'll report that car to RATSA so that they should deal with them. So for that, we are asking all the citizens, not only here in town, even in your homes where you are staying, you need to live a very clean environment.
Tipempa kuti vankale na mabini yako tikafika mabini tapeza cheveve vanapaka kutara noti kutaya chitaetae ija chizatiletera monga ife tiri mushe and chizaleta monga bantu siva clean and we are here to clean.
Zambia is currently trying to prevent an outbreak of cholera as the waterborne disease has already broken out in Vubwi district of Eastern Province, killing one. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. We now transition into our first topic of discussion this morning, where we are looking at factors leading to poor outcomes of the Keep Zambia Clean awareness campaign. And in studio, we are joined by Martin Mulenga, an environmental activist, and Mande Piri, a Keep Zambia Clean advocate. Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Show.
Thank you so much, madam. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Mande.
Good morning, madam. And how are you today?
We are fine, thank you. Now, going direct into some of the factors leading to the outcomes of the Keep Zambia Clean campaigns. Let's start from there.
Okay. First and foremost, you need to be aware that we have a campaign running, which was actually introduced in 2007 by the late President Mwanawasa, Lev Patrick Mwanawasa. And then the same program was relaunched in 2018 by Dr. Longo. And then there was an aspect which was added. It was not about making Zambia clean and healthy environment or campaign, but it was Keep Zambia Clean, Green and Healthy campaign. So an aspect of green was added there. Why? This is now what we didn't also need to have a planting of trees. However, we have factors that actually may lead to poor outcomes on the Keep Zambia Clean campaign. First and foremost, the one factor that I've just come to notice, or that we have come to notice, is that when you don't have involvement of community members, that campaign definitely cannot be implemented. And then I will elaborate more as we talk. And then another one is when we have lack of education on environmental protection. Definitely, when you don't have knowledge about whatever you are doing, whatever campaign you may start doing, whichever it's about the environment and what, but if you don't have enough information, enough education, enough sensitization you don't have, then it may definitely lead to poor outcome. Then the other point is that sometimes it's just because of apathy. People, they don't have that interest in the environment, and they say, I think someone will come and clean. So that's what I've just actually spoken about may lead to poor outcome when you speak about the campaign. Yeah, sure.
Maybe you can add your thought, Mr. Piri.
Okay. As you can see, this Keep Zambia Clean campaign has been launched so many times. But the challenge that we have found on the ground is that there's lack of information. And the people, we don't want to change the mindset. Okay, we think there's someone who is in charge of the garbage, which we're not supposed to be like that. Because looking at this time, we have to make sure that this mindset should start with me. The government is just coming in to help us, not the government to do that as a duty for us, no. The issue, mostly what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to make sure that we keep our environment clean. One, I was thinking we should sensitize more, and starting from our schools, because it's like this mentality starts from our schools. We don't know, we don't learn about clean environment. Second, we have to educate our community members, issues of deforestation. We are talking about climate change. All these things, you find that there is a lot of floods. You can't even understand these days to say why the rains are coming like this. As you can see in Charara, there's a lot of floods. As you can see, even the president is coming on the ground to make sure that the people, they can live a clean environment and a good environment. So for that, we want to make sure that we sensitize more so that people, they should know what is happening on the ground. So as you can see, the vice president came last time in town to launch Keep Zambia Clean. So that we have engaged about 150 people in the CBD to help the council to make sure that the city is clean, the environment is green. So for that, we have just started, and we'll make sure that we implement the government effort. And this one, it costs a lot to the government. People, they don't know that anything that you can throw anywhere else costs the government. So we want to sensitize and tell the people to say, this is not good. Even these people where they are using these buses, you can drink a drink and throw it on the window, which is not okay. Who is going to take charge of that garbage you're throwing on the window? So it needs to start with me.
Now coming back to you, Mr. Mlenga, I was with you on Saturday, where you were, collecting these garbages. But how have you found your interaction with the traders there? I know some might be hesitant, to get your message and ensuring of keeping the environment clean indeed.
Well, just like I spoken about earlier when I was giving the outcomes that may lead to poor outcome of the campaign. First and foremost, when you don't have education, proper information about the environment or proper information about the Keep Zambia Clean, Green and Healthy campaign, it becomes a problem. And during our operation, we have faced a lot of challenges. Sometimes we may even fail to understand why people are behaving in such a way. In the CBD, what is happening? There are groups of people. Some were brought by whatever or political leaders. Others were they just feel that's their own place. They can work without even cleaning. It's okay for them, and they don't even need anyone to go and tell them. And then others, they just clean and waiting for council workers to come and correct. Unfortunately, what has happened so far is that the good part is that the DMM actually engaged us, and I happen also to be the coordinator. A group of 150 people, and Dr. Plain is always each and every time checking on how these people are working. Unfortunately, the sad part is that council workers also have seen it more like a competition between the DMMU as well as the Lusaka City Council. As a result of that, they have withdrawn all their manpower from the CPD. You can't see any council worker coming to clean the city. What they just do is they just come and collect money, collect levy, then they go back. And the other problem is that these are also the people who are leading to these dates that we are seeing in town, because you find that it's recently you've seen the city is dirty, pictures on Facebook, pictures on YouTube, people saying, no, welcome to Lusaka, the dirty capital city. It's because of the councils in one way or the other. These are the people who don't really work on the ground. They just go there to collect money. But when they hear that the president will be coming in town, that's when they go and start cleaning, which is not supposed to be the case. Otherwise, on the ground, there is a need to sensitize people on the dangers of having that environment. We really need that. The president has done enough. He has given us enough tools when it comes to this sensitization, but it is just very difficult for us to implement. And then the other problem, during our operation, we have also come to understand that we are lacking, community organizers who have interest in the environment. Just like I spoken about earlier on, that for this campaign, to be fully implemented, we need to have people on the ground, those who are interested in environmental issues, those who can teach people about environmental degradation. However, at the moment, we don't have such people. And the campaign seems to be somehow inactive because it is not really emphasized much. Starting from the government, they are relaxed. But the president is always talking about that. But the people he's working with on the local authorities, local councils, local community and development, they are not really doing enough when it comes to that. Exactly. So those are the challenges that we are facing during our operation. Yeah, some people, they are just, sarcastic when you approach them to say, why don't you clean? Hey, we have a council, they come and clean. Hey, what? Such kind of things. So it's very difficult for people just to assimilate the information, what is really going on. This is why we need people to be talking about Keep Zambia Clean on a daily basis if possible. It's because it's only through that we can achieve that we want as a nation. Yeah, sure.
With such kind of, approach, the mindset that people have, do you think there's hope for us to see a clean Lusaka one day?
There is hope, and I'm very much positive when it comes to that. There is hope. Zambians, we are good. When any information is passed, can you see cutters this time around? There are no cutters. Why? Because the president has worked on that. When you speak about the issue of cholera, issue of corruption, there is nothing like corruption this time around. Why? The government, the president has done enough. So the same way they are using, the same strategies is the same strategy that may use. Otherwise, there is also a need of making policies. Of course, policies are there, but those policies has to be reinforced. If those policies which are there can be reinforced to arrest whoever is throwing garbage, whoever is, then we can have a peaceful campaign and everything. We can have hope to say, I think we are going to achieve something. Unlike what is pertaining on the ground right now. Because this time around, it's not a noble thing just to throw a litter, to throw anything without a shame. Because there is no council police who can say, oh, stop doing that. Even when the council police are seeing what is happening on the ground, they can't say anything because it's also normal to them. Yes.
And maybe coming to you, Mr. Perry, how has street
us a lot of work
Mm-hmm.
because you know, we are just from cleaning, and just some seconds you find that they've taken back the garbage, the place where they're supposed to dump the garbage.
You go back and clean or wait for the next day?
You know, you can't come back because even the transportation of carrying that garbage, it's also a challenge. Because looking at the council, the way how my brother stated to say, council, they are not on the ground to make sure that the city is clean. And the effort of the government that has made this time to make sure that the city remains clean. You know, it's supposed to be, we help each other, the way how we do things. You know, street vending is nothing can do when there is sensitization to say, let us do this. Those people that are good people, they can understand and they can follow what you can do. So that one has impacted us a lot because let's say that we clean at 10 hours, you find that 12 hours there's a heap of garbage. So you find that when you're passing there, you may say these people are not working. You understand? Because it is very much, I don't know what I can say, but we need just to work as a team. We need more sensitization in these people so that they should know what is happening on the ground.
And maybe our viewers are wondering, why do you, when you
we take them to Chingwell dump site.
you've got transportation? And
yes, actually we are using transport from the council. They are saying the other contractors who are on the ground, which is not even enough. Because you find that even at the 7 hours, you're supposed to start working at 7 hours and then find there's no transport. So you take the whole day cleaning just because of transport. So for that, we are urging even the council to make sure that they should even start working areas 06 because people, that's when they are coming in the town. So they should do that so that everything should be on the good part of the people who are trading in the street. Even when you go back to the shop owners, you know, the shop owners, they are paying to these contractors to collect their garbage. But you find that they are not collecting. So you find that those people, they're taking that garbage and throw it on the island of the road. So you find that that garbage, which are just from cleaning, it comes back and it becomes the issue of now, since it's you who is working, you go and collect that garbage. So we want to make sure that as the government putting this such much effort to make sure that the garbage is being collected in the city, and not only in Lusaka city, wherever they are, everyone where it's coming from, they have to make sure that they live a clean environment. And for that to achieve as a country.
Yeah, and maybe for you, Mr. Mlenga, last time you were
No, these shop owners, they have just reached a point of, they don't even care if they have a pin or they don't have a pin. One of the biggest challenges that most of the shop owners are facing is that whenever they buy beans, whatever, they steal those beans. They can place it outside, just maybe in the space of 2 days, the bean is nowhere to be found. So first and foremost, the issue of junkies. That's a very serious problem that we have at the moment. And then secondly, these shop owners, they have contracts, for instance, from STAM Investment, Clean Friends, HW, Solid Waste Management. Unfortunately, these people also, they don't really collect garbage on a daily basis. So you may find that their garbage are full with, their bins are full with garbage, but no one to collect from them. And then at the end of the day, what do? They now start stocking that garbage inside the shop. Like last time, the opposite shop where we went, the next shop that side, we found that there was this Lebanese who has been keeping those mayuri in shops. It was about 5 sacks.
inside the shop?
Inside the shop. We asked him, what is really the use of these urines? No, we don't have where to dump with these guys when they come. Such kind of things. So there is really a need to sensitize even on shop owners that they need to have my beans. Again, others, what they also say is that when we buy beans, we place them outside. Hama beans usually without us even putting anything there. Because of these people who are passing, the street vendors who are working from outside, they just come and dump things there. So there are there are a lot of challenges that really going on in town. But as earlier I spoke about, there is a need for a council to place enough bins. If you have seen in town, just along Freedom Way Road there, you agree with me that there is no bin. Now imagine from Lima Tower up to Mount Meru there. How many street vendors are trading in that place? How many bins do we have? From local councils, there is nothing. This is why now people are forced to dump anything whatsoever on the island of Freedom Way. Also in regards to the same thing happens to Lumumba. You look at look at Cairo Road. Cairo Road to my bins to talk about Cairo shop feka. Those are the bins of Bakanso Bapika. So it's really not enough. We need a lot from Bakanso. Bakanso, wherever you are listening from, that CDF fund you get, use it to buy bins in town. We have, Lusaka is big. Lusaka is big. And history tells us that every day about 1.2 billion tons of garbage is collected within Lusaka on a daily basis. Now, if we don't have bins, where do we take that bins? I mean, if we don't have bins, where do we take that garbage? So there is a need. It's not about starting from town. We need to start from the source. And then we come where we are taking everything. Also, this corresponds to the dump site, Chunga dump site, where we are dumping things. There is a need for our council to look into all those areas. Because what is happening there also, it's environmental degradation. And at the end of the day, what do we have? The result of, it results in the global climate change. Why? Because our garbage that we are collecting is not really disposed well, or if we dispose them, we start burning. No, when we are burning things, what do we do with the ozone? Those are the things that we need to put in place and say, okay, we need to think about this. Otherwise, bins shop owners, they're supposed to have enough bins, but also the council, local authorities, they're supposed to provide enough bins in town so that whoever is passing, instead of throwing in shop owners' bins, they can as well put it in Muriba Council, nama garbage, nama bins.
But don't you think, just like you have alluded earlier on, that the junkies might try to vandalize these bins and council property? Don't you think that again will be will face such challenges? And don't you think there's need to put other measures like putting street cameras in the CBD?
First and foremost, before we even talk about street cameras, there is a need to put lighting in the CBD, because at night there are no lightings there. I've moved in the CBD at night around 20 hours, 21. Ama light tayaba sana yali chepa. Tamwa afya ama light tayaba wino. And then when you talk about ama junkie, and those ones, that those guys are very good. They can spearhead this campaign nicely. They know where they get ama garbage. They know which place to pass. If those people were even to be empowered, they can do a lot when it comes to this sensitization. But ngamwalipita pa town center padia, there are those from big bins. Those ones, even if you have a junks very 50, they can't lift that.
And some of them are welded, isn't it? Are they welded?
Yes, some of them they are welded. So there is also a need. If vacants were to put those big bins, they even weld them. My sister, well and good, we are done with whatever we are talking about. These date, seat, what and what, we are done with it. Yes, but there is not just that inactivity with local authorities. This is why now the DMMU, Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, is coming in to supplement their efforts. Because why? It has become a disaster. And Dr. Brain is very much intelligent, that man. He has seen that there is a need on the ground. Before it results in a disaster, we need to put some preventive measures. This is why now he has engaged us, the group of 150 people, to make sure that we see at the end of the day a clean city. And I pray that Dr. Plain with his team, as well as the DC, Ms. Rosa Zulu, can continue with that collaboration. Exactly. And also just to, empower more women who can do that. No women are good when it comes to such kind of a job. They are good. But all in all, we need also first to start from the youths. We sensitize youths in schools, wherever we have, then everything will fall in place. Sure.
So concluding remarks as
like last year I was here and we were talking about these environmental issues and everything.
Mhm.
We have come up with an organization. I registered an organization of which even Mr. Piri is also part of it, and spirited people who have got interest in the environment. So now our organization is just registered under the Ministry of Community Development, and it is called the Green Cosmos Organization. Cosmos is the world. Now what we want to see, we want to see a green world. And our aims at the moment, what we are going to be doing, we want to provide supplementary effort to the local councils, that is collecting garbage in public places. Apart from that, we are also going to do this afforestation, planting of trees, because we also want to participate in the global climate change. How can we end climate change? That is planting of trees. This is what Green Cosmos is also going to be doing. Apart from that, we also want to partner with government institutions, organizations, individuals who in many parts of the world advocate for a green environment. This is what our Green Cosmos organization is going to be looking at. And we are urging people out there who may really need to partner with us, please come on board. You can call us. You can also call me at 0972.
Maybe we'll definitely give out your numbers for security purposes.
Exactly. That
exactly.
We really appreciate that. But otherwise, we really want to provide something positive to the well-being of Mother Zambia.
Okay, but before I let you go, just coming to you, Mr. Piri, maybe Mr. Mlenga did mention that, junkies can do a better job, and these are people that we know that they're being used by these traders, and Katengama being entirely and then at the end of the day, they give them the 2 quarters. Don't you think there's need to come up with an initiative of empowering them so that we supplement this effort of keeping our city clean?
Yes, actually, that one can help a lot. These junkies, they're suffering. Why? I'm saying that because they've got nothing to do. And if the government can bring that policy to help these youths, these are youths. They are called junkies just because they've got nothing to do and they don't take care of themselves. So for that, I think the issue of empowering the youth like junkies, I think the government has put in place already. Everything is in order. So it's just a matter of these people, we can organize them and make even a cooperative for them. They can still benefit from the CDF money, the government SME. There's a lot of measures that the government has done so far. And we will make sure, as you can see, Mr. Mlenga, the time he was harassed in Copperbelt, doing the great job in the city. It's not just because of me, I can't do it. No. Even a graduate can do that. I can collect the garbage. You understand? So at the moment, those people, they have been misused in short. Telling them to say, get 2 kwacha and get this garbage and throw from, they don't know where they are going to throw the garbage. It becomes a challenge. So for that, I can see and say that we can go to town and organize those people, give them like a cooperative sum, then they can still empower it. Yes.
Interesting. Before I let you go, one more last question, Mr. Mlenga.
Yes, madam.
I understand that your group, the group that you have come up with to ensure that you collect these garbages in the city of Lusaka, you have involved or empower women in one way or another. Why did you think it was necessary?
We always talk about gender equality. But in one way or the other, women are mostly neglected.
Especially that the field of waste collection is mainly dominated by men. Maybe you can.
Yes, these jobs, they consider that jobs to be only be done by men. But we are forgetting that women, they know how to do that job diligently. And I'm telling you, I'm working with a lot of, actually, 60% of the people we are working with are ladies. They are not, you can't say any problem. They are good people. They work with that passion of working as a mother. But at otherwise, there is also a need to know support our mothers in one way or the other. These are the people who are taking care of our homes. But a mother will always be there, so there is a need to support them and also just, you know, to give them whatever we may need. And, you know, I like people who can't just say today lomba, but they are coming to look for jobs so that they can work and feed themselves. So I see, and actually encouraging everyone who may have that kind of a job, please consider women to be the first priority. Exactly, women to be the first priority, because these are the people who knows how to do work diligently. These are the people who can, even at any point, at least come to your aid. They really know how to work. Yes.
Now, the president on Friday did talk about planting 2 million trees in his address to Parliament. Are we seeing you being part of this tree planting exercise, and if so, which areas have you targeted?
So, like I spoke about the Green Cosmos organization, the one we have formed, we've also spoken to the mayor in Chilanga, and we were also actually, you know, just trying to visit the forestation, Minister of Forest, if they can at least allocate us where we could be planting trees, we will really be glad. Otherwise, what we want is to see a green Zambia, and planting of trees is one of the Green Cosmos aim. Exactly. So, of course, definitely we'll do that, and we are starting as soon as possible. Yeah, sure.
And not going far away from this, and you know that a lot of challenge that we are facing is from Chakobeni. Okay, you know, this country, we are facing a lot of climate change just because of Chakobeni. And the Green Cosmos, they are here to make sure that we should change the mindset of people in terms of thinking, no, I'll buy charcoal and I'll do that. We are going to introduce the gas stove. So gas stove, at least it will help, because looking at a lot of challenges that we are facing, find that there is no electricity. Yeah, you find that there's road shading. So for that, they are going to buy a lot of charcoal, and then that one comes to a challenge as a country. And second, you find that the other people who are farming tobacco, there's Kampopi. I think you heard about Kampopi, maybe in Eastern Province. That brings down our country. You know, when you are cutting tree, it will take 10 years for us to have another original tree. You understand? So when you cut one tree today, it will take 10 years. So when you look at that, which means we are killing ourselves. Okay, so that we need to sensitize a lot about cutting trees. When you cut one, you have to plant 10 of them, so that maybe you can have the good environment. Looking at when you go to Southern Province, there is a challenge of rains just because of what? There are no trees. So for that, we want to encourage our families where we are coming from, either in Eastern Province, in Rundazi, in Chipata, Mongu, wherever we are coming from. We have to make sure that we educate people about deforestation. We have to now to change the mindset. When I cut a tree, I think we will negotiate the government to make sure that everyone who is going to find cutting trees anyhow need to face a row.
And just maybe to speak a little bit, COP27, the President Hakainde Hichilema spoke much about climate change, how negative it has impacted on Zambia. It has caused a lot of negative in our country. So now, climate change is coming as a result of, like my brother has spoken about, cutting of trees. And this climate change has also in one way or the other caused, you know, the starting of rains. This time around, you may wonder why we have all these droughts. Rains usually starts in December, January, but years back, we used to have rains at least by 25 October, Panyayano, Kanapo. As you know, it was more like a bracing, but this time around it's very difficult to see that. When you speak about temperature, this time around, more especially in Livingstone, there, temperature can even go as far as 40 degrees Celsius. So all those things is because of climate change. This is why now we want to be planting of trees, telling people not to be burning these charcoal, burning plastics. It's not supposed to be that. Those plastics you can make to use crude oil. You can do a lot of things through those plastics. So there is really a need to mitigate this climate change that we are facing. And we really need a lot of champions, environmental champions, from our communities where we are living from. Yeah, sure.
But do you think we're
not doing enough. Because why do I say so? You may find that this is Wazawa or Minister of Forest.
Zafiko.
Zafiko. They don't even bother to ask where you getting them from. You get. And in one way or the other, I'm sure people are forced to go to Chaco because there is road shedding.
It has ended. The argument is that it has ended.
It has ended, and we hope it is not going to continue, just like his president spoken about to say, we are done with road shedding. So if we continue like that, and also just to introduce gasoline stoves, in as much as we can't manage to give each and every home, but at least those people cut trees, if we can try to see them where they are coming from, because there is also, that's where they also make a living from. We need to consider that. But there is a need on how we can help them in one way or the other so that we not restrict them from cutting of trees and making charcoals.
How safe are the gas stoves? Because we've heard a number of accidents that have happened in homes. How safe are the gas stoves?
That's why everything needs information and education. If you are not educated about how to use even this phone, it becomes a problem. So there is a need to have sensitization on how to use. Whenever you are delivering something, make that education available to people who are using that. It becomes easier for them to do. Just like operating a TV, it was very difficult, long time. But this time around, even a kid can operate a TV nicely. So everything is just falling about sensitization and education. That's the most important thing that we need to consider as a nation. Sure.
Now coming to the issue of awareness on the campaign of keeping Zambia clean and healthy and green campaign, don't you think, how am I going to phrase my question? Do you think there's need to introduce such subjects in schools so that people, when they're young, they're still young, they learn about, the need to keep your environment clean at all times, to avoid these scenarios where, you were dealing with traders or elder people who express ignorance when you tell them, no, you can't dump here and stuff like that. Do you think there's need for us to introduce this in our subjects in schools?
My sister, charity begins at home. If we want to achieve this issue of this campaign, keep Zambia clean and green, healthy, whatever, it's a long process. We can't end it now. We can't end it tomorrow. So we really need to start with youths. This is why I say there is a need to start going through my secondary schools. However, we can't manage to go to each and every schools. I think there is a need now for the government to put this in the school curriculum, to introduce the subject of keeping our environment clean. Because if you learn about this hygiene when you are young, even when you grow. Also, not only the different government, whatever. Now, if we have a role to play as parents, wherever we are in our homes, start sensitizing your children about cleanliness. Start sensitizing children about, you Jehovah's Witness. You see, those are the things that we need. Even here in church, I've seen the pastor always talking about cleanness, smart, next to godliness, even if that phrase is not in the scripture. But what it tries to tell us is that there is a need to keep ourselves clean, smart. So if we start keeping ourselves smart, clean, and then we also need to advocate to the environment, because these are the things that don't talk. The environment no, but there is just a need for us as people to do what? To start sensitizing people, and also just youths. For my parents, wherever we are, wherever you are, my parents, start teaching people about the dangers of having dirty environment and the benefit of having what? Clean environment. It has to start from our homes, and then we take it to what? We take it to schools. Our churches also, they have got a role to play. Churches from wherever you have, start teaching people about good environment. Start teaching people about climate change, whichever subject you may have. Because even Jesus Christ, when you talk about the Bible, is also telling his disciples to be clean wherever they are. So there is issue of environment. It tackles every aspect. We can't sit here if the environment is not clean. Yeah, so there is a need. It's not about His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema. It's not about Dr. Pauline Gabriel. It's not about Ms. Rosa Zulu, the DC, but everyone, wherever we are. church leaders come on board and supplement government effort. Just talking about it, even a minute, it's not going to, and also these media houses. There is also a lot that we need from you. Each and every time, madam, whenever you are doing something, see how you can touch the environment, keep Zambia clean campaign. Ama social media, ama celebrities talk whatever. See on how you can also try in whatever comedy you are doing, whatever music you are doing. See on how you can talk about keep Zambia clean. Then we may have everyone in Zambia talking about the same thing, and then we are going to be Rwanda, Kigali City. This is what we really want. So everyone, is not about the government, but everyone, parents, church elders, schools, my teachers, let's advocate for Keep Zambia Clean campaign. Yep.
Now, Mr. Mlenga, you have a question from a viewer on Facebook who wants to know, is it about the Green Cosmos? What's your organization called again?
Green Cosmos organization.
Yes, so the viewer out there is saying, who is funding the organization? Is it from CDF? But I know it's not from CDF, but you can go ahead and answer the view.
So the organization, just like I talked about, we are not funded by CDF, neither the government. It's just an initiative that I tried to come up with these people who have interest in the environment. I came up with this organization because of being blocked by the local authorities. Kurwansha you can't work from here picking letters, looking at the papers you have, and you are a graduate, you are just up to something, or maybe you want a worksuit. They denied me to give me that opportunity. Here in Lusaka, I was in Buseko, Matero. In Matero there, I was cleaning at Buseko there. Even President NBC came. These guys from public health, they chased me like a rat. I went to council. I wrote a letter. Just that I left the letter. I wrote a letter. If we can partner with them, because I had people were following me to say, let's come up with cleaning just on a voluntary basis. I wrote to the town clerk addressing the town. I wrote 2 letters. One addressing the public health director. I'm not going to mention his name. And then the town clerk. The one I directed to the public health director, it got missing. I don't know. And then they told me to say, you need to address to the town clerk. The town clerk, the one I wrote to the town clerk, the one I found in the office said, if we were to bring this boy in this office, I got to pocket to. I guess our boss was. They said, I'm going to call you ngabasta approve kwa mutashani mutambe program level time. That was last year, my sister, in November. Wherever you are listening from. Because our council, they knew that this is the one who is coming to do our work that we are failing to do. At the end of the day, what are we going to say? I don't know. So now, I approach people like Madam Siana Dungu. She's from Misozi. Siana Dungu, she's from ZLA. She has really, this interest in environment. Says, I think we can come up with an organization. I also spoke to Mr. Chileshe, who is more like my mentor from Cavendish University, as well as Mr. Cornelius. I also spoke to Father Lupopa, Father South Lewis, as well as Father Mbangai Manu. These are the people who encouraged me to say, you can come up with organization, and then people, we started the issue of writing the constitution. And it was somehow difficult for us to raise the money and to register the organization, because it also requires a fee. So we started just to contribute to mandate kwacha to matu kwacha, and then at the end of the day we had everything in place. So now we are looking for funds, and if you happen to know someone who can fund us, well and good, please come on board and supplement government effort when it comes to clean environment.
Interesting. Do we see your organization, your group going forward and tapping into the CDF?
Exactly, that's where we are leading to. Our work is a community service. It's not about profit making. So as long as we are doing something which is benefiting the community, nothing can restrict us from going to the CDF and require apply for some funds. We'll definitely do that. Of course, we have manpower, but we are lacking trucks. We need trucks that can be collecting garbage whenever we are collecting garbage from town. We need a truck. Apart from that, we need money to buy seeds to plant trees. So we'll definitely go to CDF and apply, and definitely they will give us some funds, because everything is money.
And really, what could be wrong with the Keep Zambia Clean initiative every time we find that it is relaunched? Why do you need to relaunch it every time? Why can't we just have a continuous system? Where are we going wrong? For us to be relaunching again, you know, it fails again, we relaunch, you find that the vice president graces it to the president. Where are we going wrong as a country?
Where we are going wrong is that we are lacking organizers. We don't have organizers background. Then another thing, there is no benefit accrued from the same campaign. Even if you do the campaign, you are going to benefit nothing. So what do? You just leave it like that. Again, another thing, just like I spoken about earlier on, we don't have involvement of community members. Because everyone thinks into our council. That apathy, there is no interest, no concern whatsoever about the environment. So, first and foremost, by government, they need to collaborate with people. If they see that this one has interest in the environment, let them pick that person. Make use of that person when it comes to this campaign. If they see that where is it that we are getting it all wrong, beans station, let them place enough beans. But all in all that we want is to have organizers, people who can champion the environment and keep Zambia clean. Let them just not concentrate about our council or these other contractors, but also let them identify people with that interest. Mr. Mande, maybe you can add something, two heads,
Oh yeah,
something.
yeah. The most challenge we are facing, we find that the government will be launching every time. The sensitization is not on the ground. One, the way we have stated, can we start this program from the school? First, I think that one would be the best. When this exercise goes to the school, maybe they can make a syllabus. I think that one now, it comes to a lot of people that are going to learn from there. Because one, it's like it comes now something that you want to use, like you want to just to be chewing money from the people, like you understand, or you just want to make it a story. But this is a reality, and one thing that we should know, this is the reality. We can't run away from the fact of the life. Okay? When I throw a paper, that's a reality. Who is going to take care of that litter that I'm throwing anyhow? So for that, I can even ask the government to make sure that they should implement some rules, which even sometimes, let me just say, the way how the rats are doing, to say there's a fast track court. Less like in just our neighboring country in Botswana. When you litter here, when they catch you with a camera, which means even if you are in the Vixen, you come back and get the water. That date you are thrown on the street. So I think here in Zambia, we have to introduce that, so that everyone should know that when I do this, this is not acceptable, and this is wrong. You understand? So for that, I think it can help. The mindset that we are having as Zambians is not good. You find that everyone can throw anyhow, no one even asking him to say what we are doing is wrong. You find that someone just, even this floods we are having in Lusaka, it's also contributing in the same of keeping the city clean. You understand? You find that the drainages which are blocked, just because of the same mentality we are having, you can throw bottle anyhow. You understand? When you throw that bottle, you will sweep that dirt in the drainage. You find that drainage is going to be flooded. You understand? So then it comes now the challenge. You start now involving the DMMU. It comes a disaster. But when you can learn from there, when you understand that this time, let us have that a changed mindset to say what I'm doing is not good, and we should learn from there. Sometimes we are coming from different backgrounds, yes, but we should identify to say this is not what we want. As a country now, we have to move forward because instead of getting that money we are putting into garbage, instead of buying Panadol in the hospital, you find there is a shortage of drugs in the hospital just because of the same challenges we are facing. Mindset is killing us, Zambians. So for that, I'm asking for the government if they can at least introduce a fast-track court. That fast-track court, everyone, they are going to be scared. Sometimes less like you are passing the street as you are working. When you tell someone to say, okay, can you remove that dirty? They say, you understand? How can you start telling the council that you are the one supposed to take care of the garbage? No, that's a bad mindset. Okay, when that's like street vendors, where they are working, they have to make it clean. before they start working, they should sweep. And when they are knocked off, they have to sweep so that that environment remains clean. You understand? Yes, we know there is no good measures where they can take these street vendors. But for now, let us just comply with those local authorities which are working on these streets, so that we should have a clean environment and we make sure that we live a healthy country. Yes.
And just maybe to add a little bit, this campaign should not only emphasize when it is rain season. If you have noticed, I'm speaking from no experience.
Yes.
This campaign is brought whenever there is rain season.
Yeah.
When it is no what summer, what and what, they don't talk about that. Again, CDF now is increased. There is a need for local authorities to direct a certain amount to waste solid management. Apart from that, we really need to have a lot of recycling company. That's the only way we can get out of whatever we are talking about. Because when we have a lot of recycling company, everyone is going to be forced to say, if you have seen this time around, can you see a scrap? It's very difficult to see a scrap.
They even steal from our homes.
Yes, it's very difficult to see a scrap. So why? Because there are companies which buy those scraps. Can you see a battery yakubati yali pwafi ya motoka? Mwala wa muna wana wapita muboni na mabattery. Those ones is also a campaign. Instead of those batteries to be dumped, they are making use of them. So if we have enough and the power of recycling companies in Lusaka across Zambia, everyone will be forced to buy, to get that garbage and go and sell. We know we will reach a point whereby we'll see a clean Lusaka, a litter-free Lusaka, but above all, sensitization is needed. Exactly. Just like the president was very much upset with the situation he found. Is it Lusaka West?
Yeah, Lusaka West. Just
no, what happens?
Zambia port was there.
Yes, what happened that side is that there is they call it Black Mountain. Nipa Road, that's where they go and dump. And then when Wakanso heard that the president is coming, they went there 04, started cleaning, and someone actually captured them and sent to me the pictures to say, why? Because the president is going there. So we can't do that to say, president, this is what even happens in town. If they know that the president will be passing through Cairo Road, you will see the council fully packed cleaning. But if they can be doing that every day, my sister, who have a clean Lusaka, I'm telling you. No, Lusaka is called Garden City.
And the other issue again, I don't know who is in charge of dumping sites. That area, when you go there, I think you can try. Even that road which goes to...
You're talking about Chingwere?
Yes, that road which goes to Chingwere Cemetery. It's closed. There is no road anymore. You understand? So for that again, I think that is a challenge. When you look at that, we need to plan further. Either we bring an investor there. You know, garbage, you can still put investors. They can invest, maybe they can start generating power from there through the garbage. So what we may ask the government to say, they should help us to find the investor who can at least invest in such areas in terms of garbage. You know, the way how my brother stated, to say garbage you can make money. Garbage you may save life. You understand? So in that garbage, you can make a lot of things to happen in our country. Even the economy, it will boost. You understand? As we can see now, it's like the government is just spending money into garbage. Garbage, which doesn't even finishing to clean the whole city, you understand? So for that, we really ask you to say, people, especially you media, as my brother said already, to say, you media, help us in terms of sensitization, in terms of where it's concerned about garbage. Go there, go in the compound, go to Soweto. When we went to Soweto to check about Soweto, the way how it is doing, you can cry. You know that Soweto is the area where all food in Lusaka reach. You understand? When it comes there, you find that it's been supplied all over town. Now, when that cholera comes to Soweto, are we going to survive? We are not going to survive. So we have to understand that where there's a Lusaka City Council, where they are working, they have to make sure that the markets for the council, they have to make sure that they have got proper toilets and the garbage collection collected every day, so that people they can trade in a good environment. When you go to Soweto right now, you find the drainage are blocked. And if you go there, I'm telling you, I've been there with my naked eyes and see what is there. You can cry. You understand? So even the councillors in these communities, they are not helpful enough to the government. Okay, they have to be on the ground to help the government. You know, the government doesn't mean that the office, like where we are here, it means that this is government. Government, it's me. I have to take that responsibility as a government. Okay, so for that, we have to make sure that these relevant authorities, the councillors, the MPs, where they are coming from, they have to make sure that these things are in order.
Quite interesting. There, maybe your concluding remarks as we wrap up on the segment in under 1 minute.
Okay. For me, what I can say to the last words is Zambians, let us comply, and we are good people. And for that, I'm pretty sure we will do it. You know, Lusaka, it was called a garden city. And with the community work together as a community, we are going to bring back Lusaka as a green city. For now, it's like we are just going to be talking and talking and talking. Let's go on the ground and have that action. Today, that action, the way how Mr. Mlenga started in Copper Belt, being harassed with cowboys, we can still do the same. Even you there, where you are, you can still do the same. Let's see that there's an effort somewhere so that we change the mindset of our people. Let us educate them. And I would like to ask you media, so that you should advertise more. And we'll make sure that we put even stickers all over to say that we should keep our environment clean.
And yourself, Mr. Mlenga?
Yeah, so my last word is that let's try by all means to be practical, pragmatic, not theoretical when it comes to the issue of waste management. And just to lessen the burden on the disaster management and mitigation unit with our able leader, Dr. Pauline Gabriel, because these people are not sleeping. Why? The throwing of litter is just mushrooming. That behavior of throwing litter is mushrooming in Zambia, which is not supposed to be the case. I'm also calling upon the government, please try to reinforce the already enacted rule when it comes to keeping our environment clean. Parents from wherever we are, let's try to be environmental advocates. Let's start from our homes. Educate people about the Keep Zambia Clean campaign. Tell them that Keep Zambia Clean. Our church elders, let's please try to come on board and supplement government effort when it comes to this campaign. Otherwise, the president, Mr. Haga in the Ijilema, is doing a lot, but we are also asking local authorities to work hand in hand with the president. Otherwise, the president is really in one way or the other neglected by his people he has employed, more especially from local government, because they are not doing enough. So there is a need for you local councils to pull up your socks so that we may see a clean Zambia. And nama issue of disasters, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming through, and thank you to our viewers who are participating via Facebook. Just now we transition into our next topic, which is a reaction to the presidential speech in Parliament and its impact on the community, because one of the concerns is the cost of living. Just now get joined by Chilubi Member of Parliament, Honorable Mlenga Fube, to help us discuss or rather react to the President Hakainde Hichilema's speech. So let's just take a look at that story done by Prudence Trotter as we get joined by the guest.
The fight against corruption in Zambia has been deemed political by the opposition, who feel they have been wrongfully targeted by the current United Party for National Development UPND administration. President Hakainde Hichilema, however, says his administration will fight the previous, current and future corruption at all costs, and says he will in the next few months be reorganizing the leadership and management of investigative wings, as well as increase resource financing to these institutions to ensure that they are strengthened in the fight against corruption. The president was speaking in Parliament Friday when he addressed the nation on the progress made in the application of national values and principles.
To strengthen the fight against corruption, we are reorganizing the leadership and management of investigative wings and also increasing resources to support the operations of these institutions. Just wait and see in the months ahead. In our fight against corruption, there shall be no sacred cows. Corruption of the past, corruptions of the present, corruptions of the future.
president also says no one should call the fight against corruption as ethnic, adding that those who still do it on their own and not for an ethnic group.
Here is the message for you and the nation. Do not call the fight against corruption selective. Do not call it ethnic-based. If you took public money, you did not take it for your ethnic group. You took it for yourself.
On the other hand, the president has wondered why about 26 constituencies have not provided their constituents with bursaries under the CDF component.
That number X, we need to identify those constituencies which have not provided bursaries for vulnerable children. What is happening in your constituency? You people seated here, please do not play politics with education. Let's send our children to school. The facility is now here. Let us utilize it.
The rise in child abuse cases and divorce has also worried the president, who says human rights laws are being misinterpreted, further calling on families to respect one another.
The rate at which marriages breaking up in our country is worrisome. We must all be concerned. Sometimes we misinterpret the meaning of human rights to imply no respect for a partner in the home, and that one can do what they wish because of human rights without regard to the impact that action has to the children, the husband, or indeed the wife. We should not misinterpret the good intentions of human rights.
The president has appealed to politicians to put their politics aside and work together in improving the Zambian economy. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
We have now transitioned into our next segment where we're looking at the presidential address to Parliament on Friday and its impact on the community. And in studio, we're joined by Chilubi Area Member of Parliament, Mulenga Fube, who's helping us discuss this topic in details. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am fine.
Good morning.
Honorable.
Good morning, Honorable. It's good to have you here on stage.
You are not even a guest to the screen of Camnet TV. There's no need for that introduction.
Well, if that be the case.
But anyway, going into our topic this morning, what is your reaction, first of all, to the presidential speech that he gave on Friday?
Well, as usual, the president missed an opportunity. You know, the president is a Republican president. The attitude you attach to a speech matters. The president has been attaching an attitude. I think the president indeed has gone, yes, he went through prison and he went through other things. But I can assure you that from the time he has been coming to Parliament to address us on different issues, he has not recovered from any of the issues that he went through. I don't know if he was prepared to go into politics, because politics in Africa and elsewhere, people go through a lot of things. I think you remember Mr. Tsata Binti August been imprisoned for 40 days and so forth and the like, on trampled up charges by people that you would have considered actually as friends, by people that you would have considered as people that are brothers, that is sat in the same executive with. But I think I don't remember when Mr. Sata came into power and they said that it's time for revenge. To the contrary, Mr. Sata is the one who was even counseling people to say whatever happened, happened. The MMD people and other people are also children of Zambia who deserve to be. And I think this sweeping off, where you find that every element that was left by the PF becomes devilish in some way. It's quite suicidal for him. Because when you look at the way he has been looking at this, I think he's only happy to commission what PF left and say it was used, it was government money that was used. But whatever is PF to him is quite bad. And I think we need to be talking, if you are told there is such a friction, like comes out of the mind of our president, there is need then to reconcile, to do some reconciliation of some sort. Because it's evident that the president has failed totally to recover from his past. Whatever he would have gone through in the duty of politics. And attaching you know, me, I was even confused. He would say you should have social shame. At the same time, he would call you to work together with him. So we don't know which one we can pick at. And I think the president created also a notion that when he talked about CDF, that we should not play politics with education, we should not play politics. He was implying, I'm sure, it's not his people that can play politics with education. He was implying that the implementation of CDF is being sabotaged.
Is it being sabotaged?
No.
Because he did mention about...
Can I, hello, give me time to flow. Can I qualify what I'm talking about? It's been sabotaged mainly by the opposition. You remember the president mentioning that out of the 156 constituencies, only 130 have properly utilized the issue of those boarding school children. I think he should also know. I would have loved him to tabulate those constituencies that are 26 that are actually not utilizing the money properly. And I can tell you from down to my heart that you would have found that it's a mixture of independents, UPND, and PF. Possibly that would have been the probability. Those who have done probability in mathematics can agree with me that that possibility is very high. And I think it is not always good to continue portraying the opposition as sabotaging government programs. By nature of us being part of the legislature, we are also government. And I think we also embrace patriotism. You may also wish to know that Parliament is called Parliament because of the inclusion of the President. It's called National Assembly when the President is not there. And when we look at such, we also take allegiance, the oath of allegiance to the President. And I think it's making it very difficult for us to really abide by that oath. When he comes to Parliament, he has to separate us from the angels this side and the what? The sinners that side. When we are off, we have all made oath of allegiance to the President. I think he needs to take an approach of a parent, and the parent embraces all. We may be bad children to him, but I think we deserve respect. We may be bad children to him, but I think we deserve love. And I think when it comes to Parliament, that's the first thing that I would like to underscore, that he has to take up that particular approach as a father. He needs to really scale up his statement, stewardship stature, so that everybody feels that we are part of Parliament whenever it comes to National Assembly. Yeah.
Now, the president did talk about a number of things, and of course, one of them, as usual, was the employment of teachers, saying, and health workers, saying this has helped youths to be employed. According to you, has it catered for all the youths? Well,
when we look at youths, youths are in brackets of white collar, youths are also in blankets of blue collar, youths are also in the blankets of the peasantry. We can apportion them as skilled and unskilled. They are all young people. Both skilled and skilled, they are all looking for employment and a living or just life opportunities. So when the president talks about employing 30,000 teachers and 11,000 health workers, technically yes, the many people that would have been captured according to the age that was targeted would qualify to be called young people, because the youth policy in Zambia captures the component of 15 to 35 as young people. So I think I wouldn't like to argue. There would have been some of the people that would have been employed, because especially that if you know there was an age limit of no one who is above 45 should be employed. So I'd like to believe that it's young people that were employed. But my dear sister, that is a drop in the ocean. And I think if the president wants to think that is going to land the country by just employing, using the civil service window, the economy will crash. That I can assure you. The economy will crash. Because currently we are talking about more than 53% of the budget, the national budget, going to, that was before they employed the 30,000 and the 11,000 health workers. Meaning that now we are above that 53%. They may not be telling you that reality. because the civil service, when the UPND came in, was around 340,000 plus. And then they brought in another number, 40,000, meaning that we should not be spending the same money. In any case, though some of you may be thinking they raised this money from elsewhere, the money that was used to employ the same teachers was the money that came during PF, which is what is called the special drawing rights. It came on 3rd August. That is the money that was used to employ those workers. There was nothing miraculous about those workers. And in addition, they employed because they found some infrastructure, because you cannot employ without an infrastructure. So I think this, we need to look at it as a corrective measure, which is a culmination of the efforts of PF. And now that he's in the seat, he also thinks that since there is a gap in terms of the number of teachers, let me also do my part. So you cannot take away the efforts of PF when you talk about that employment of the 30,000 teachers, including the money that was used to employ the teachers, was raised during the PF. You know that special drawing rights, I think you are journalists, you can research. That was coming, and one of the conditions that was attached to that is because of the issue of COVID, which had crashed a lot of economies, countrywide, worldwide. Yeah.
Now let's talk about the issue of the cost of living. Do you feel the president did enough justice to address this issue, or maybe what the government, what his administration is doing to lower the cost of living?
I think the president completely ran away from that issue. If you look at his speech, which is, I think, I've been perusing through different speeches, it's the shortest speech ever given to Parliament, though he expanded it by putting a lot of his own things there. When he was mentioning social shame and the like, which I have failed to find, there's no social shame in the particular speech, but he expanded by what? Even a lot of things that he talked about, I think, are not even applying. He talked about, the first, I have been a social activist. When you talk about, the issue of, for instance, you talk about the issue of alcohol, using the alcohol policy, which is within, I would like to appreciate that it's within the Article 8, which talks about morality and ethics and patriotism and nationalism, and I think it has got about 6 pillars that are in there. It talked about dangers of alcohol and utilizing of the alcohol policy. He said we undertook sensitization programs on the dangers of this vice in communities, places of work, and institutions of learning. Since my address last year, 523,973 citizens have been sensitized and compared to 217, 234. This has nothing to do with results, as it may be. Some of us who have been exposed to what the indicators are in terms of social progress, you find that the same period, that is where we had the increment of HIV infection among young people. When we look at the 61,000 plus of the new infections, 40% of those are young people, whom we are supposed to protect. So when we look at such, one of the driving factors of the spread of HIV is also alcohol. So when someone tells me that they reached out to so many people, there must be some resultant force elsewhere. And in this case, what I'm trying to talk about is that the reaching out of these people, how did it result? Because the trickle-down effect of outreach is about behavior change. And if this behavior change was not effected, as it may be, it is equal to 0. So when we talk about, I reached out to this, I gave bread, it means that people would have fed the bread. They would have defeated the hunger. So when you reach out or using alcohol policy, there must be some result. And that result, I know that it can be long term, short term, and medium term. But it is in the same period that we had, a driver like alcohol, contributing to the spread of, if you go to our compound, you go to, even in our villages, now, the behavior of young people is something that has never existed. I think it's a frustration has crept in and the like. And I think on that one, the president is not being real. I think he should take time. Even when he disguises himself, he can disguise himself. Park and all that, and he sees how young people are playing. He will change these statistics, I can assure you. Yes.
Are you saying young people are resorting to drinking due to maybe challenges such as unemployment?
Well, as a social scientist, I can tell you that there are a lot of contributing factors that can lead young people to that. And one of the factors that I can just bank on is an idle brain is the devil's workshop. Or an idle mind is the devil's workshop. When we preoccupy young people, cutting across all sorts of strata, young people are heterogeneous. Heterogeneous meaning that you cannot find one solution and all of them fit in there. You cannot come with cooperatives and all the young people fit there. No. There are young people at college, there are young people at university, there are young people at those who have graduated, who are looking for jobs in different sectors, not just teaching and health sector. But when you talk about heterogeneity of young people, they are trying to fit in different, and meaning that the approach that you are supposed to take is what we left in the youth policy, which is called competence-based approach, where every young person find their foot in whatever station, at whatever station they are at. If they are just grade 9s or grade 7s, they can do metal work, they can do carpentry, but that has to be facilitated, where it gives them dividends. It makes them find a livelihood. So, in a situation where an environment is frustrated, you find that there is young people have to venture into different outlets. Some of them would say, I can't find a job. And then, since I can't find a job, and I am required by my mother or my father to leave their house because I've reached a stage where I'm supposed to be staying alone, or I have reached a stage where I'm supposed to be providing on my own, where they're not supposed to be providing food. Sometimes that particular frustration makes them to go and resort to drinking. When they go to drink, they find a nice-looking girl who is also available for casual sex, and they have got a tukwacha to give her. They go to that. What results from there is post-brain infection. So when we look at such, it's a complicated scenario that we cannot just possibly heap on the president and this particular government, since they have just been there for 1 year, 6 months. But it is an accrued, it's even beyond PF, because PF just found it. For instance, when the 225 companies were sold, that had an effect on the economy. A lot of parents lost employment, guardians lost employment, children scattered, some of them dropped from school and so forth. So it is something that has been going on for a longer period. That I would be unfair to say that the behavior we are seeing now can only be associated with UPND. Neither can it be just associated with PF, because it's something that has been accrued for a longer period. It is a social phenomenon that has been, it's trendy, where it has been getting on for some time, which needed a serious solutions. Yeah.
As you give your concluding remarks this morning, do you think the presidential speech was a booster, or did give a booster to investors' confidence?
Well, it couldn't, because yes, those that are coming through the window of foreign direct investment would benefit from such a speech. But I think when you pick the CEC Act and you pick a lot more documents that we talk about in Zambia, you will find that they are talking about Zambian-owned, Zambian-driven. Even the president, in the same speech, he talked about when he last addressed on page 8, when he last addressed the parliament, as when he comes there as parliament, when we are there as National Assembly, he says this in the first paragraph, second paragraph, sorry, on page 8. Since my last address, the number of companies registered to use the proudly Zambian company logo has increased to 69 from 47 in 2021. Now, the increment of Zambian companies that are using the Pride Zambian logo to such a number like 47 to 69 from 47 in 2021 is not a success in itself. It's just a logo. But how are these companies being given incentives to thrive in a tough economy like we are? Yesterday, the Kwacha reached 2026 because it was at 20.26. It already reached 2026. So when we look at such, these people, where they are getting their products, how they are accessing energy, which is electricity as well as fuel, it is prohibitive. It is not something that gives them the stamina to bargain properly, especially to compete with people that are coming through the window of foreign direct investment. We know, for instance, that if some of our people have to venture into mining, they don't have tax holidays like the foreigners have. I'm saying the foreigners because they're coming from foreign direct investment, and I hope that doesn't sound rational. But what I'm trying to say is that our people are not given the same incentives like those that are coming to invest in Zambia. So even when you talk about them using a logo, so what? We are supposed to say how many companies were empowered using the Citizens Economic Empowerment Fund, using the Development Bank of Zambia. Then that would have been a scenario where we can align at a station and say Zambians have been empowered. Not a scenario where you talk about a mere logo. It is neither here nor there. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Honorable, I'm sure we'll catch up with the rest of the information from the news. We have just gotten a signal from our floor manager there that it is time up. But thank you for coming through to the studio, and hope you join us again next time. This is where we do come to the end of our breakfast show. Remember to join Sharon Kalimbula and Patrick Soko tomorrow as they take you into politics. From us, have a wonderful Tuesday.